Okay, so here's my question. That team last year, I said, better than our Super Bowl team. And I don't always think winning the championship is the best barometer, like who the best team. And I'm not saying the Chiefs weren't better than y'all. They're a great team. Y'all were a great team. It was one of the best Super Bowls I ever saw. But I do think this team was better than our team. Would you agree?
No, because we didn't win a world championship.
Come on, you're doing.
And I think at the end of the day, it's like fingers on your hand. It's like though, you know what? Everyone says they don't have a favorite kid. Everyone loves their kids the same, but everyone has kids they like.
That's fucked up. Right? Who's your favorite kid?
I can't tell you, but
I got Howie Roseman on the RV. Howie, thanks for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We got like 15 minutes catching up. We were just shooting the shit a little bit offline. Can you tell him what you asked me?
I guess my question for you would be like, were you really rooting for us?
Yes.
Because you were the first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like does that second team take over? And what you said was awesome, which our fans should know, which was just like, first of all, you're like, I'll always be the first, right?
We'll always be the first. We got
never
that.
Take that away,
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about that. I'm like, they're gonna have to live with all of us.
Yeah.
And our roles on that team here.
Dude, it is cool though. Like, and when I bring the production guys up, like we'll go to a restaurant. The thing I love about Philly is how, and you're a big restaurant guy, you go out to eat. People probably bug you sometimes, but people are also really respectful. Like we were at a spot grabbing a beer and a cheesesteak, and everybody was like, they were like, nobody recognized you, and then we leave, and everybody waits, and then says hello, and let you, but they let you enjoy your evening. But
and you know what the funny thing about there's probably this perception of Eagles fans that's different than the reality. The reality, at least my experience, and it sounds like you have the same experience, is like people are so appreciative of the players, coaches, front office, and it's so there's like this respect level that it's also like a knowledge. Like I remember I told Jalen Carter, I'm like, 2 weeks and you'll walk. Everyone will know who you are. Like, really? They know everyone. They know what your role is. They know who you are. Now, listen, you're an unbelievable player, and so they knew you from the get-go. But I think that kind of respect they have, and it's that exact thing. They'll say something if you're with your family. Yeah. Hey, I don't want to bother you. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah,
stuff
pretty
like
much.
That, which is real different than what you'd expect with the reputation of
the reputation is like rabid, and they are at the right time, which is game day, and you want them to be that way. You want, like, I was up at the NFC Championship, which was a lot of fun. I got to
opposing teams.
Dude,
holy cow!
I got to tailgate.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to be so jealous when I played here of the people that got to tailgate. It was a blast. But the whole point is like, these people make you want the team to win. Even if I didn't personally like the team, or if 10 years down the line y'all had a player that I was like, he annoys me. Yeah. You want those guys to succeed because the fans are so into it and you love the city. So that never crossed my mind. I was always wanting y'all to win this year.
And not only that, but like the passion of the fan base, like it's their livelihood. Yep. Like they really, it doesn't matter what their job is. Like, my kids were going to the orthodontist, and the orthodontist was like, I face paint before games. It's like that Seinfeld episode, the face painter. That putty.
See, I'm not a Seinfeld fan.
No.
And we were just talking about Seinfeld. It's pretty controversial, but I'm not a big Seinfeld fan.
What are you?
I don't know. I don't like laugh tracks, and it reminded me of like after school when I used to have to do my homework, like Seinfeld was on.
Right.
I'm a Curb fan,
right,
which is why I asked you about Larry David.
I'll tell you,
did you ever meet Larry David?
That is funny because I do think laugh tracks, now you look at them and you're kind of like, why do they have to do it? It's funny anyway. You don't need the laugh track. It's actually funnier when you don't have the laugh tracks because you can decide what's funny or not. It's almost like they're telling you when to laugh.
Exactly. It's like a mock draft. See the segue? The people that make the mock drafts are telling you who to draft, but you do your own thing. So there's my segue, because I got 15 minutes with you. I know you were like going to try to laugh track me into minute 7 and then not give me anything.
100%.
Okay, so he's fucking, this guy.
And
he was on Kelsey. You were on Kelsey's real quick. What were y'all doing? Y'all had a nice drink on the New Heights podcast. That looked pretty good. How do I get some of that?
Back and I like mezcal, and he knows it. And he have you ever had it?
Yeah, I mean, not yours, but that mezcal, but I'd like to try some. Okay.
Oh, you got some.
I got some. I brought some here. I'm going to have a glass. I'm gonna have a glass. Howie is at work. He can't have anything.
No,
These are mine.
I love it. So you'll come out to practice. See, like I would never do that because I would get in trouble. You can't get in trouble anymore. Like you don't have rules and regulations.
I guess so, but I try not to abuse the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
good news is Nick is on social media, so neither one of us will get punished.
I love Nick. Okay, so here's my question. That team last year, I said, better than our Super Bowl team. And I don't always think winning the championship is the best barometer, like who the best team. And I'm not saying the Chiefs weren't better than y'all. They're a great team. Y'all were a great team. It was one of the best Super Bowls I ever saw. But I do think this team was better than our team. Would you agree?
No, because we didn't win a world championship.
Come on, you're doing.
And I think at the end of the day, it's like fingers on your hand. It's like. Though, you know what? Everyone says they don't have a favorite kid. Everyone loves their kids the same, but everyone has kids they like.
That's fucked up. Right? Who's your favorite kid?
I can't tell you. But I think so. It's the same with teams, you know. And I remember Fletch got asked in the divisional round.
I remember.
And he's like, 17 teams better.
He's smart. He did it because he didn't want to create,
he didn't want and the expectations. Yeah. And so I think it's like, you know what stinks, and it's funny because I was thinking about this because the basketball playoffs, like one game. Yeah. Right? Like you get a 7-game series, and I mean, you can obviously in the NFL, but it's like one game, one thing happens, changes the whole game, right? Yeah. Changes your life. And I feel like that team, the effort, the camaraderie of that team, it was unbelievable. But 17-2 was like that. You know, you think about that, it was like a special. I remember we were like talking after the year, and it's just like we were talking about players and going, well, this guy was unbelievable all year. Well, it wasn't hard when you win freaking 17 games.
Yeah,
exactly. We won 17 games, right? And I think that like we did in 17, we probably had a little bit more adversity than this team did.
For sure, yeah.
Going that LA week, I think that was adversity. And then coming off that, you know, we had the Giant game, which we played well. And
Atlanta was no walk in the park. No. You know, it was like the offense was figuring it out, and by the time they figured it out, thank God they did, because we needed 41 points to win the Super Bowl. So
and hitting that field goal like that.
Yeah.
I think about it, we probably had 20 plays that each had to go the right way to win a world championship. And I almost feel like the opposite last year. Like there were probably 15 plays, if one goes the opposite way, we're world champs. Yeah. And I'm thinking they didn't land the way. Yeah. The Torrey catch at the end of the second quarter.
The flea flicker, the whole thing. Yeah, we got a bunch of breaks, and we made our breaks too. But, you know, and I was going to ask you, like, there's not much. I know some people are like, we didn't win a world championship. That's what you're saying. That's fine, Howie. But you should, like, are you changing anything because you didn't win that world championship, the way you approach doing your job? Because the pieces are all there, just the chips didn't fall right.
No, I think the formula for us, I'm not saying for everyone, for us works, you know, and that's the O-line. You're going to look at the O-line, and the O-line's always going to be good. You can look at the D-line. D-line's always going to be good. The quarterback play is going to be good. Yeah. And hopefully we'll have a bunch of skilled guys who can make big plays. Hopefully we'll have a bunch of guys in the back end who can get us the ball back. And so I think it's like anytime you try to get away from what works, I think you're trying to reinventing a formula. And sometimes you got to get ahead of it a little bit. Like you got to figure out the next trends. Like, so you're kind of always trying to go, well, what's next so I could be at the forefront? I think anytime it's like this is what I say, and I don't want to be insulting to anyone, but I think like when you're trying to copy the team that just won, you're too late. Yeah. Right? Like we used to have this thing, like when Coach Reed was here, like we had this, like the Trent Coles, like you'd get these, you know, 6'2", 250-pound edge guys, right? That the rest of the league, because most of the league at that time was running 4-3s, right?
Yeah.
And they were going
guys
big
in
guys.
Overfronts.
And so you were getting them, and you were getting them late. Now those guys, I mean, we just took a guy 6'2", 240 in the first round.
And that's what I was going to ask you, because the game is changing. You know, like QB run game, QB read, people spreading out, more mobile quarterbacks. Like, is that intentional with you with like Nolan Smith?
Definitely.
You know?
I mean, you got it. You sit there and you go, in the zone read, can you chase down the quarterbacks? Yeah. And you're talking about the best quarterbacks. I mean, you saw it in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Mahomes, on a bum ankle, takes off and runs for 25 in a huge play with 3 minutes to go in the game, right? And so at the end of the day, who can chase those guys down? And that doesn't mean there's not a place for guys
it ain't the
who can set the edge and who
setter.
can I think there's still a place for those guys, but at the end of the day, you also have to have speed.
Yeah.
You have to have speed on defense because guys are so fast, and there's not. You see it even too, like safeties. Safeties are moving a linebacker, right?
Yeah.
And so the linebackers, they're basically moving to edge guys,
Yeah.
right? And so it's hard to find when you're going scouting in college football right now. There's not a lot of off-ball linebackers. You know, like we got N'Kobe last year, and really excited for him. But there's not a lot of guys like that in the drafts because those guys are playing positions, and like everyone, they want to make money, so they're playing positions that the league's paying.
Are you shocked he fell that far? I mean, Jalen didn't surprise me as much.
Yeah.
But Nolan surprised me a lot when I watched
And still,
his tape.
Jalen went in the top 10, so it's like it's not like falling.
But in my opinion, you got the best position player in the draft.
You know what?
Him and Bijan, I feel like were the two special guys.
Yeah, I think I'm excited. Have you met him yet?
No, is he here?
He's here. I'm
I
excited.
can't wait
for you
to
meet
see him in person, bro.
Yeah.
Because when I saw him at the rookie photo day, I was like, "Holy shit! Look at the way this guy's built." Like, you know, the difference between watching film and being around somebody physically. I'm sure that's a big thing with y'all. Like watch him do indie, stand there next to him, see how he's built. He looks way better than he did at his pro day too.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, and our guys do a great job getting these guys right. Like the same thing, like Jordan Davis. Have you seen Jordan in person?
Yeah, the guy's fucking. He's a mountain.
It's not human.
He's a mountain.
It's
Yeah,
like 6'6",
yeah.
350, and he looks like.
Yeah.
Your camera. You guys are all in good shape. What do you guys? Do you let them eat on the road? Do you
Yeah,
give
they
them
eat
a
on
budget?
the road. Yeah, we had a rotisserie chicken this morning at the pier with the rotisserie chicken guy who you didn't know.
Why
So you got to Google that when you.
Sell me out,
Okay,
you know?
so yeah, no, sorry, he asked about you.
Made me feel even worse.
Backup quarterback,
Yeah.
quarterback depth, very important. Obviously, we have a history there. But like
No team has benefited more by the
Than
backup
us,
quarterback
yeah.
position than the Philadelphia Eagles.
in 2017, especially,
I know.
and then beyond.
We had that.
But-
Jeff Garcia came in, won the division
Yeah.
for us. I mean, people forget Mike Vick was backing up Kevin Kolb
Yeah.
in 2010.
Yep.
Won the division. And then Nick came in for Mike in 2013 when he had his 27 and 2
Yep.
season, 27
Yep.
touchdowns, 2 picks. And so it's like it's always been a thing. It's just it's kind of like we talk about O-line, D-line. It's just part of the culture. It's almost part of the culture. It's bigger than
It seems
anyone.
like one of the things you hang your hat on,
Yeah.
and Mariota fits that bill. Why?
I mean, Marcus won. Tremendous person.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable guy. And he's one of the guys, like you talk about, like you see him in person, you forget.
Yeah.
The guy's a big freaking dude, you know? Great athleticism. He can sling it. Great person, you know, totally supportive, kind of like, I want to come and just, you know, help Jalen. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of attitude where
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, I hope you guys don't need me, and let's go try to win a championship.
Yeah.
That kind of attitude, and you see it with him. Just really excited to get him, and Gardner did a great job for us. Has a great opportunity in Indy, so it's no shot on him.
Yeah.
Just really appreciative of him too, and the same thing. You know, we drafted a quarterback in the 6th round. We got Ian Book. It's just like, let's try to get as many of those guys at this position,
Yeah.
just like the O-line and D-line, that can go play because. You know, I think about that season. I remember before the Super Bowl going up to Nate Sudfeld and being like, man, you're one snap away. Like,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we had that. We were in the championship game in 2003 against the Panthers. Donovan got hurt in the first quarter, and Coy was playing. You
Yeah.
know, like it happens. And we talked about this off camera too. It's one game. You
Yeah.
know, like one game. So I think that's a big part. I'd be excited for you to see him too. I think you know him. Obviously, Jalen's the man. You know.
How was doing the deal with him? Just as pleasant as it seems to work with him.
You know what? I give him a lot of credit. He just said, "This is my," just like he does to us with the draft. I'll tell him, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking," and he'll go, "I trust you, Howie."
Yeah.
You know, and he did that with his agent, Nicole Lynn. She did an unbelievable
She's
job for
great,
him.
yeah.
She was so professional, and
Yeah.
she did a good job for him, and that's a good deal for him,
Yeah.
and you know, hopefully a good deal for us, and that's how they should be. You know,
Yeah.
he deserves it. His work ethic, his passion for the game, and then his talent level. I think sometimes we talk about his intangibles so much, we forget how talented he is.
Yeah.
Like he is he's another freak.
Which is readily apparent. So his intangibles are so great that they overshadow that freakish athletic ability. I mean,
Sometimes
that's how
maybe just
great-
because the
that's how great
adversity
he is
too,
here, dude.
and the adversity, you know, that he's
Yeah.
been through and how he handles it, which is a great credit to his
Yeah.
family and the people around him.
Last question. You guys stayed in different ways. You stayed here. You didn't have to stay here when you called it being exiled, and you went around the world and you learned from leaders. And I'd love to talk to you about that on a longer podcast.
Awesome.
But because I didn't know that shit about you until this
Really?
week. I thought you just always been here, but I missed that whole thing. But then Bama and him staying there and, like dealing with that adversity, do you feel like that resonated with you just kind of like in your career path?
I think the easy thing in life is to run, right? It's just get me out of here.
Yeah.
Let me figure it out. And
that's retirement.
Yeah, you ain't retired, bro. But you ain't retired. You ain't retired. You're working it.
I'm retired.
And I think that for him, that he was willing to do that, and even though football was so important to him, I think when we were going through the draft process, that was like, here's a guy that like he is not afraid of adversity, and he's so resilient. And look how he overcame it. And he goes, he wins the national championship for them, unbelievable. And then he goes to Oklahoma and he's second in the Heisman Trophy, balloting and back in the college football playoff. I'll tell you a great story because it's probably topical right now because they got the first pick in the draft. R.C. Buford, like for me, that guy, I mean, 6-time world champion GM for the Spurs. And so we go to London to go to this conference, and then we're going to Manchester, like check out the facility because we were with another guy, Mike Ford, unbelievable guy. Who's a GM of Chelsea in the Premier League, and somehow, and do you remember I how much I love food? Like, do you remember this?
Yeah,
like,
you're
I feel like I'm not a lineman, but I feel like in some way my mindset is like that. I was hire freaking lineman, right?
Yeah.
Your buddies Joe.
Yeah, you in another life.
And
I would have
been, with different genetics. And so like he's like, anyone hungry? And I'm like, yeah, I'm freaking hungry. And so we get some, and then we're going to hop on a train, and we look at the board, and it's like now boarding trade to Manchester, and so we like run with our luggage to get on the train. We hop on the train as it's pulling apart. We call Mike, and he's like, hey, our train leaves in 20 minutes. You guys are on the wrong train. So I'm like, this is awesome. I want to pick your brain. Like, how'd you build your teams? Like, what talent are you looking for? And he's like, no, man. He's like, so Pop became the head coach. He was a Division III coach. That was the highest level he was the head coach at. He was the GM of the Spurs. He takes over for Bob Hill, who had gotten him to the second round of the playoffs. And he's like, I'm going to name you GM, he says to RC. And so RC says, when do you want to meet? He said, let me do the press conference. We'll meet in like 2 hours. So RC's got time. He got binders. Nobody's got like freaking computers and stuff like that. And he said, I got these binders and I'm ready for Pop. And Pop pops in and he goes, all right, you ready to meet? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, what are we going to do first? And he goes, well, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to hire people we really love being around, that are good at their jobs, and that every day make us want to come to work. And RC was like, all right, I'm writing it down. And I'm going, all right. Pick my head. All right, what's number 2? And he goes, that's fucking it. I travel all around the country, all around the world, and it's like that one sentence was it.
Yeah.
Like, just like being around the people you're around.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you if I asked you all these guys around here, you go, yeah.
Oh, love them.
Right.
To a T. And Dom, it starts with Dom. So we're going to try to get him on the RV after you.
You know what I said to, like, I've made one decision, and I can't tell you which one it is, one decision where I thought Dom knew, and right after I made it, he was like, he kind of gave me that look, and I was like, oh my God, this isn't going to work out. And because he's got such a great feel for people.
Yeah.
And he's got such a great feel for where our team is. So it's so easy for me. Like, people don't understand the value of God. Like, obviously, like what he does in his job and what he does for our players and what he does in this city, best in the league.
He is.
But he's got having that sense of where the team is, what we need, what we're looking for. And so I'm always like, I'm looking for affirmation from Dom all the time. I'm like, well, what do you think? He's like, we're good, boo.
Yeah.
All good. All good, right? That kind of thing.
It's the best 3 words you can hear. We're good, boo.
I know. But sometimes we're not, and I'm on a need-to-know basis,
Yeah.
But it's basically whatever's going on, I got covered. If you can get Dom, like...
He's going to be on here after you. Yeah. He said he's going to go change.
Into which sweatsuit?
I have no fucking idea. Exactly. Exactly. That's good. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.